So what we're doing is one of Gary Young's ear treatments here. And I'm starting with purification oil that's mixed 50-50 with V6 oil, okay? And so when a person's ears are clogged up or having hearing problems, sometimes these pathways are jammed up somehow. Maybe they eat too much greasy food, maybe they eat too much cheese or canola oil or something weird that's poisoning their body. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting on the mastoid bone behind the ear and just doing a very gentle stroke. And I always tell the person I'm working on that if I'm working too deep, they need to tell me that I'm working too deep so that I'm not offending their body. You don't want to create any kind of stress or trauma. So I'm just coming down this way here. And as I get down here, there's a bone called the clavicle. Some people call it, what did you call it?
Collarbone?
Collarbone, yes, it's called a collarbone. So, and if this is really puffy in here, sometimes you have to work with that a little bit to get it to release, okay? But you just work the oil down like that. And I do it a few times just to clear that pathway. And there's actually 3 pathways. This is the forwardmost pathway. And if their ears are clogged up, I ask them to open their jaw wide, you know, open wide, yeah. Is that feeling okay? So maybe I do this 6 times, maybe I do this 8 times, 10 times. It depends on how it feels. If it starts to get softer and more pliable, then what that means is it's starting to drain and release. Can you feel that? Okay, so I think that one feels pretty clear. I'm going to get a little more oil. Again, 50-50. Purification in V6. And now the next pathway is further back.
Do you use pressure?
Yeah, but not heavy pressure. But you have to know. So you know what honey is, right? I mean, think of this gooey stuff inside as being as thick as honey. Okay, it's kind of like I don't think it's lymphatic fluid. It's just tissue fluid. If the person's very acidic, then sometimes they'll get a rash if you do this a lot. If they're heavy coffee drinkers or they eat a lot of pork. Pork and beer are the most acidifying foods. They turn your body much more acid than other things.
No wonder Gary doesn't eat pork.
He doesn't eat pork, he doesn't drink coffee, he doesn't drink beer.
Yeah.
So now this pathway, instead of ending here, is ending more out here. And this one on her, she has a little bit of a tight neck. So,
I told her.
well, and it travel, you know, on planes and buses and everything, working on computers, all of that stuff adds to the tightness in these muscles. Is that pressure okay? And I can feel this, I can feel this soften as I'm working it. So, and I'm using moderate pressure on my thumb. Now I'm again, this is the middle pathway. And pretty much everybody's favorite one is the next one. She'll probably want to go to sleep after this. I'm feeling like that's opening pretty good there.
So you're still using the purification
Still Purification and V6. We're going to use 3 different oils. Purification, Juniper, and Helichrysum. So this is the most rear posterior pathway. And again, I'm starting at the back of her ear and tracking down this way. And there's a notch here in the shoulder. If you can feel that right there. You feel that notch right there? That's where you want to end up with this one. I'm not strangling you with your shirt, am I?
Wow. Big, tight muscle there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so this one, you know, I might have to do it 12 times or something. I don't count. You could count. Gary probably counted. I just don't remember that because as a therapist, I can usually feel as these things start to release. And like right now, she's starting to release. Can you feel that, Gretchen?
Mm-hmm.
And really the only way to learn this in an ideal setting is to do it a few times. Once you know the technique in general, you can do it a few times. Yeah, this girl's tight.
Yes.
I'm going to loosen that up a little bit here. So this isn't necessarily something you have to do, but the more fluidity you can get going on here, the more circulation she will have. And the more circulation she has, then the better the overall drainage will work. And that's what we call this. This is what we call a drainage technique. Think plumbing. And anybody who commonly has a lot of sinus problems or ear problems, this can be very helpful. Okay, so the next oil, I don't know if we have Juniper here.
No, just pretend this is Juniper, frankincense.
Okay, we're going to pretend this is Juniper, but it's frankincense, which is probably ideal anyway. Is this 50-50 again? Yes. Okay, great. So I'm going to put a little on my thumbs. And of course, the beauty of doing this work is that I get it too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this on the rim of her ear.
Along the edge.
Along the edge of the ear, front and back. And she has earrings, so that's okay. I'm just not going to work.
Normally you would ask the receiver to take it off.
Ideally,
yes.
But it's not critical. As long as they're not big, huge ones, it's okay. So I'm doing a squeezing technique like this, because what you want to do is you want to press the blood out just enough to get the oil to be sucked up, just like a sponge, okay? And that would be juniper oil, although today it's frankincense, so why not?
How many times do you do that?
I'm not counting. I'm probably doing it a dozen times. You want the oil to really penetrate in as best as you can. And as you probably know in Oriental medicine, the ears relate to the kidney. So you want to make sure they're drinking good water before you do this. So that's probably good enough for what would normally be the juniper oil. And then I think the most powerful part of the treatment is actually Helichrysum. You think of
White
anything?
Angelica?
Sure, why not? Now this is a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my fingertip. Now you cannot have long fingernails when you're doing this, okay? You'll hurt the person if you have long fingernails. So you have to make sure your nails are relatively short. And I'm going to put the oil on. This one's a little stuck.
or is it stuck?
It's okay, I got it. Okay, there we go. So this would be Helichrysum. In this case, we're using White Angelica, which is fine. Thank you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put my finger in her ear canal. Now you don't want to put it in too deep. And you don't want to create a suction like, you know, like a cork coming out of a bottle. That would be bad. You don't want to do that. So I'm putting my finger in her ears and I'm lifting up like this. And I'm just going to do a little rocking. And this is working the oil in. But my fingers are not plugging your ears, right?
No.
Just to be clear. Well, yeah, you just don't want to have long fingernails. It could hurt somebody. So notice her head's moving just a little bit as I do this. And I'm doing this for maybe 20, 30 seconds at the most. And then I'm going to change directions. I'm going to go back this way. And if you don't have enough oil on your fingers, you can always get more. That was White Angelica in that bottle, but we're using, you get a little more. Thank you. It's great to have all these assistants.
Are you okay with your back?
Yeah. I can change my stance, actually.
Because there is a higher chair you want, because you're really tall.
It's okay.
Yeah. So now you're like pressing down?
Yeah. And see her head's moving a little bit like this. And then the last one is forward. And normally, you know, when if I'm doing this as a treatment, I watch my posture more carefully than I am right now, but I can take a stance like this and I'm comfortable, so. Okay, then we're going to go back up to the first one. A little more here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab her ear here on both sides. I'm going to pull up maybe 6 times. And once again, we're just increasing the circulation and the blood flow around the ear. That's why this is called a drainage technique. And she's about passed out now, so we probably should stop. And that's a technique that could be repeated. I mean, it depends on the situation, but this technique can probably be repeated depending on the person, maybe every other day or even, but I wouldn't do it more than 1 time a day. Maximum 1 time a day, but you could do every other day or every 3 days. Just depends on what's going on for the person. If someone really has hearing loss, I was in a seminar with Gary Young in Turkey where he did this on somebody who had lost pretty much all their hearing, an older guy, and he did this one treatment and the guy's hearing was pretty much restored. But he used quite a bit of oil and he spent quite a bit of time doing it. So we only spend, 15 minutes here doing this, but still, it's a useful technique. And maybe she could give some feedback as to how she feels with that.
This technique is it's a 15-minute long, or how long is usually?
I just go by how it feels.
Okay.
So I would say the average treatment's probably 15 to 25 minutes, something like that. But, you know, a lot of it has to do whether or not the person is tight in this area here, And the tighter they are, the longer you have to spend getting those drainage. So the drainage works just like this, you know, as the flow of the blood and everything starts to work. And actually this is a, right in, where am I here? Here, this is a lymphatic bed. So these pathways need to be open. So that's why I worked on those pathways first, to get those to start to be freed up. Think about plumbing. If the blockage is down here, it doesn't do any good to work up here first. You have to work down here first and open it up so that the literally gravity helps it flow. So
Why you use Juniper? I understand why you use purification, and I understand for Helichrysum, but why Juniper?
Juniper treats the kidney.
Oh.
So Juniper is a kidney remedy for a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures. And so that's why Juniper is good on the ears, because like I said, in Oriental medicine, the ear relates to the kidney. So I don't know that I could say you have to use Juniper. Honestly, almost any pine oil would probably better. I mean, I could have used Gratitude or something like that. But Juniper is what Gary came up with initially. That was his. Oh. So yeah, Juniper, thank you. Juniper is what Gary had taught as being part of this treatment. So it's Purification, Juniper, Helichrysum, in that order. Okay? So
Thank you.
I feel like it's more clear.
it
Like,
is more clear.
Yeah, I can hear like more.
Yeah.
Is it good for the? Sorry, I said it in Chinese. 嗰個成日 ringing 嗰啲叫咩名？
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Yeah, it would help.
Would help, right?
Yeah. Now, tinnitus is a tricky thing because that's actually all, it relates to brain chemistry. But here's the thing I know about that also is that if you were to use brain power as part of this treatment, then maybe you would get a better release with tinnitus. Also, and this has, you know, nothing to do with the oil. Well, it does have to do with the oils, because the oils and Ninja Red in particular help with oxygenation. And sometimes the brain just needs more oxygen to get rid of the tinnitus. But I do actually hyperbaric oxygen on occasion, and I notice any tinnitus I have reduces dramatically after that, because when you do hyperbaric oxygen, it helps increase stem cell production. And that's just good for your brain and your whole body. They go to where they're needed, right?
Yes.
Now, I also know that some of the Young Living products that are in the works also increase stem cell production. So that, yeah, you know, and I think,
Cell production.
yeah, stem cell. And I think even frankincense and frankincense squared would increase stem cell production. However, I hesitate to use frankincense squared on somebody's ear because it leaves a resinous,
It's sticky.
sticky for about 15 minutes maybe. No big deal really, but you just have to tell the person, are you okay with that, you know? But I would say that, yeah, if I were to add anything to someone's treatment, the next oil I would use would probably be brain power for, not that she needs brain power. She has a lot of brain power. But we're talking about being Virgos. It's like one of those things. So anyway, yeah, but brain power is a very broad acting oil. And that's the thing about the blends in particular. The blends that Gary came up with are profoundly powerful because it's like layering things, you know, on top of each other to get a specific formula that does a huge amount of things. Like purification, I can't even tell you how many things I could quickly think of, but it's like, you know, you name it, bug bites, bug repellent, liver cleanser if you put it over your liver, reduces anger in people that are angry. I mean, purification, you can probably name 25 things that it's good for, you know. The only downside with the citrus, any citrus oils, is that it makes you more photosensitive. So that means if you put on a lot of citrus, you don't want to go out by the swimming pool or go to the ocean right afterwards, right? You want to make sure that you're not in direct sunlight for a while. You know, I would say, I don't know, probably 6 or 8 hours you don't want to be in direct sunlight. I have great experience with being sunburned. So when I was in Sri Lanka, she saw me. I was like about that color.
Really?
Oh, well, you know, I was a little tired when I got there. I wanted to go for a walk on the beach right away the next morning. So I went out, and it was cool out. The sun wasn't very high. I took a 1.5 mile walk, and by the time I turned around, the sun was higher, and I was getting fried. So luckily, they gave everybody on that trip, they gave them lavender. They gave us a spray bottle. So anyway, anything else you want to ask? You got me here, so.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you all for being part of Young Living and doing what you do to help grow people in this world. Because that's what we're doing, is healing people, you know, people that maybe you even haven't met yet. So anyway, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.